An important point against West Ham, stopped the run of bad results. How positive was that for the group and for the mindset and just to stop that negative flow?
Yeah, we would like to have a win. The chance was there. It was a good group, a good side we played against. So take the point is, in the end, we have to take it. Every point is important for us, especially after the last loss we had. But we have now a lot of games coming up where we need to go for the win, for the 3 points, and the next chance is on Wednesday.
Clearly it's a challenging time at the moment. The fact that you can pull out a result against a side that were in form shows a lot of character from the team.
Yeah, especially the first half, I must say, was absolutely okay. We have played a good first half, I must say. With also when you look at it after the game again and watch the game again, then you see that there were some habits what we really tried to work on, especially of creating chances. We had a few massive ones in the first half. And it was absolutely okay. In the second half, I think the balance of winning second balls, keeping it then a little bit longer was not there. So we were coming a little bit under pressure, and this was the topic we were talking about after the game. But we have another big game now coming up on Wednesday against a team when you want to have also in form, 6 games unbeaten. So with a massive turnaround. And same challenge like on Sunday.
Such as the season, with the World Cup, you're going to have these periods where you have games in midweek. No time to reflect, really, prepare for the Bournemouth match, as you touched upon. How defining a match could this be for Southampton's season?
We normally love to play in the midweek, and it was important that we have a positive performance on the weekend, so took something, and we can go now and concentrate on 2 tough games coming up, and in a short term, not a lot of time to prepare with training sessions, more maybe with videos and analysis and recovering. So we have to see who is fit. It doesn't look good for Amel because he will be definitely out on Wednesday. But it's not so sure in what direction we are going, if we need a surgery for him or if we do it without. I think he wants to try it without and mobilizing the shoulder and then coming back maybe in, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I don't know. Otherwise it would take longer, so this is definitely a loss for us again. So longer term injuries are sometimes not the best for a team that is looking for results.
Whilst you're talking about the injury news, is there any other concerns or doubts ahead of the Bournemouth game?
So far we had only Theo out for the weekend because he was getting ill suddenly on Sunday morning, and I only heard that Ibra feels a little bit unwell today, so we will see what is happening in the session today and who is available.
Theo's back.
Should come in today, and then we will see how he is.
How important could a player like Theo Walcott, with his experience, be in a match like this? It's a local game and pride's at stake.
Yeah, because he was training well and showing up in the last weeks. He was an option for me on the weekend. He was maybe starting in the weekend, and then suddenly was dropped out in the morning. So, but I think. It's important to have every player available and forcing to play, because for me it's important when they all show up and don't accept the situation that they are only in the squad and not playing the first 11. Everybody should do everything to show up in every session and to give me an opportunity.
You've touched upon Gary O'Neill and Bournemouth's unbeaten run. You've managed in the Premier League for a number of years now. You understand how hard it is and how precious every point is. When you look at the situation there, unbeaten in 6 matches off the back of being beaten by Liverpool 9-0, would you give Gary O'Neill the Bournemouth job? He seems to be doing an incredible job.
Yeah, absolutely incredible job. I mean, I know how tough it is to stay unbeaten in the Premier League, and he took everything from the bottom, if you want, and know how it feels when you lose high and then have to turn things around. And he didn't lose that high. He was then immediately following and had the chance to build up a team. And I think you could see that he found immediately a very successful way of playing football with a very clear, demanding shape and clear automatism. What is for me always a sign of a manager who knows what he does and brings in immediately what is necessary. And this is very impressive to watch.
And finally, from me, you've scored just 2 goals in your last 5 matches. How important is it you find a way to score goals again? How much pressure is there on Shea, who's only got a couple of Premier League goals this season? How important is it that the rest of the team start contributing?
It would definitely help us when we use more of the chances what we create in the moment. So this is the only thing we can do, is creating as much as possible and then hoping that we score more than only once. But sometimes 1 goal must also be enough, and you know that we are not the team with the most clean sheets in the league, so it should be sometimes also enough, the one goal will be scored. But it's right, it would help us when we, after the first goal, do the second, the third, like some other teams can do it. Helps you a little bit to be calmer, to play with a little bit more self-confidence. What is in the moment the big issue, I think, in some players you can see that they are not so full of self-confidence, what is normal with the results we have created in the past. But as I always say, the good thing in football is there's nothing older than the last game, so nobody's interested in. You can always show up immediately again and work on your qualities and show them.
Thank you.
Chris. Hi Ralph, can I just check on Lavia's fitness and availability?
Yeah, he's on a good way. Not back in team training yet, but I expect him by the end of the week to return to the team training.
You called it a massive turnaround that Bournemouth have made in the last few weeks. What is it about the way they've gone about rectifying things that has, the way they play, that has caused that turnaround?
I think they have a good balance now of taking risk or building up. Still a team that likes to play football, but in the certain spaces and with especially against the ball, good automatism, a good reverse gear, as I always call it, to close spaces down when they lose the ball. So a good organized team with a good atmosphere, with a good mentality, and I know how it feels when you are full of confidence. So we have to go there and do our best.
You were a caretaker, I think I'm right in saying, very early in your career when you were Unterhaching, have I said that correctly?
Yeah, that's
close. Yeah, for a few months. Gary O'Neill's obviously in caretaker charge. What are the differences between in caretaker charge when you don't really know what the future holds and how you're trying to get a team playing the way you want them to play?
I was not really in caretaker. In caretaker. I know that I think on Transfermarkt it is written that I was for 1 week or something in caretaker.
That's where I got it from.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, but I never put it right. It was not right, so it was. So I was there for 1 week, I think, and one friendly game. Yeah, this is right. So I cannot really talk about how it is when you are in caretaker, but I think it is in general a very, I don't want to say easy situation, but a situation where you only can win, because nobody expects you to stay. And from the first moment, it was more talking about who is the next manager, and take it so far, and then suddenly you see how football it is very often going. Then you are very successful, and suddenly you are an option. And this is something that in Germany, meanwhile, very often happens. That they at first want to see how he does it, and then can still decide in what direction it goes. When you have immediately results, it is good. When you have the results immediately, then I think it's getting tough, because you don't have really the backup, the back from the support from the board then, and I think then it's a little bit harder. But when you have such a start, I mean that's quite fantastic.
Last one from me. You've won both your trips to Bournemouth since you've been manager, once in the league, once in the cup. Is there a uniqueness about going there, not just because of the geography, but it's a smaller stadium, everything is not quite as big as everything else in the Premier League. Does it have a slightly unique feel going there?
Yes, maybe yes, because the ground is not the biggest one, but it doesn't mean that it's easier there. It was 2 times a very good game from our side, to be honest. We had 2 times an important game, 1 time in the cup, 1 time in the league, and both we could win. So it was always a good trip to go there. And it's something like a derby if you want. The local guys can speak a little bit more about derbies here, not so much me, I think, but I always enjoyed these games.
Thanks, sir.
You're a local guy.
Hello, nice to see you. Still here. Right. One of the frustrations, Ralph, I'm sure, for some Saints fans who know Bournemouth fans, is that they have been on this 6-match run while you've been struggling to get points, and they will say what you said, well, Bournemouth have got organised, Gary O'Neill's come in, they've got a new manager, and why can't we do that? Why hasn't that happened to us? Why aren't we being like them, hard to beat and getting clean sheets?
I thought, why couldn't we have a new manager? That's what I thought. Because I think you need this maybe 1 time or 2 time run during the season. That can sometimes be the insurance for staying in the league. Yeah, and this is what you have seen from us in the last 4 years. Always 1 or 2 times a year where we had been on good form and were running and flying high. The consistency is the key, I think, and for us it's now to build up such a consistency and to build up this form that gives us the chance to take points consistently. And I think we had some issues with the injury of Romeo after the Chelsea game. That was definitely something that hurted us in the last games, and now it's Amel. But I hope that we can replace him better and with more success, and then hopefully going there and showing that we are able to win against these teams.
You've got an experienced centre-back who came in for him on Sunday and Duyashaleta Sarr. So tell us about him, because he's had a couple of matches now and he's had a chance to build up a bit for the Premier League. Really, he offers you more experience than most of your players.
That's right. I still think you can feel that he didn't really play for a long time. Also in last season he didn't play a lot of games in the end of the season. So I have a feeling that he's lacking a little bit of rhythm still and confidence. But this is what we try to build up with him. And now it's important for him to show up and to show how important he can be for us with the ball, but also with his aerial qualities he has offensively and defensively. Definitely a player where we are hoping that he can replace Amel very well.
The away form, you don't need me to tell you haven't kept a clean sheet for nearly a year. A whole Premier League's worth of away games, 19 since the Watford game. What do you have to do as a side to become that again, to be able to keep a clean sheet away from home?
To be honest, I think we have shown. I don't want to speak about the Man City and Tottenham game because this is definitely a different level. But in the other games, I didn't have the feeling that we have been fully under pressure or couldn't defend what was coming up on us. It was always close to a clean sheet, if you want. Conceding 1 goal against Leicester, 1 goal against Villa, 1 goal against Wolves, and always from not scoring ourselves, then lost games. But you're right, we are definitely not happy that we have not a clean sheet so far, especially in the away games. And we are not far away from it, I think. I feel that defensively we are normally good organized and don't give so many chances away, but in the moment we cannot manage to have a 90-minute or even longer performance against the ball that we don't concede, and this is the goal for the next games.
As you said recently to me, if we were better with the ball, if you're keeping the ball better, creating more chances, takes a bit of pressure off your defenders.
Yeah, it's always a balance to find where we are not only sitting around the box because of then having 20 set pieces against us like in last games. I think the defending there was quite good against a strong set piece side. But on the other side, if you want to create something, you need to have a little bit more pressure up front, and that gets you sometimes a little bit more stretched, like we have been last game also in a few moments in the second half, where you could feel that we lost balls in the transition, in the offensive transition, and then we were a little bit open, and then we were struggling of defending the situations. But yeah, as I said, we have to defend as a group together more consistent and clinical in some moments, and then I think it's not far away to have the first clean sheet.
I'll just ask you quickly, who's favourites tomorrow night? Is there a favourite, or is this a 50-50 game between you and Bournemouth?
This is never a question I ask myself, to be honest. You see how surprised I am about this question. I have no answer, sorry.
Okay, move on to section for 10:30 this evening. Start with Jojo.
Thank you. Hi, Ralph.
Hi.
You switched between Ellie Ganussi and Stuart Armstrong a lot this season. What are the main differences between the two?
I think Stewie is maybe with the ball absolutely one of the best players we have, but against the ball, Moy does a lot of work. What is important for us to win balls back and to close things down, and that's the reason why I often take Stewie then in the end of the game to give me the quality offensively wise.
Given the issues you've had without Romeo, do you feel Stuart Armstrong can still perhaps play centre midfield like he used to at Celtic before you change him into that number 10?
I think he has, footballing wise, definitely the qualities to do this. Against the ball, I think we have definitely seen that he will not be the pressing monster in this position like we sometimes need. And that's the reason why we sometimes choose him on this position when we go all in and take more risk.
You said in the summer, with I think a month left of the window, that the club were definitely going to sign a striker. Obviously that failed to materialise. Do you feel your methods are being undermined or damaged by the lack of goal scorer up front?
No, because I think that we have always a lot of players that can score goals, and when you see the chances we had in the last games, I think there was definitely a chance to score more goals from everybody. We have had a lot of shots on goal, but in the end, we haven't the upgrade, if you want, what we hoped we get in the summer. Lost in the past years a few important players up front. They scored a lot of goals for us, but this is the fact that this is in the Premier League. We are the only team that loses good players and cannot replace them one-to-one immediately. It takes a little bit time, and this time you have to give the guys.
Given the pressure you and the team are under, do you still trust your team to come through those difficult moments, to turn around this run of form?
Yes, sure. Because I see that we are able to compete, that we are able to be on the same level like a West Ham, for example, last weekend. What is missing in the moment is the final result, but we are not far away from this.
Do you feel this is the biggest game of your tenure so far tomorrow night?
One of the all biggest we have all the years coming up, especially the derbies are good for us, and big for the fans.
Thank you, Jordan. Hi, Ralph.
Hi.
Just following on a little bit from something Jake said a minute ago, you didn't get that striker, but you always take responsibility for your team performances and how the club's going. But do you feel like you've been a little bit unlucky in the last 8 to 10 months? You've had a lot of injuries, you haven't been able to play your best team.
This is not a parameter I work with, luck or unluck, I had one time a manager who said, always luck is quality and always unluck is simply not good enough. So don't take this as a parameter, luck or not luck. Try to do your best, try to work as hard as you can, try to find answers for all the issues. We don't have an easy job. Sometimes it's super easy. You don't need a manager because everything is flying. We also had these times here. And sometimes it is a little bit harder, and then they need you even more. So this is the job. When you want to do this here, then you have to know what you get.
Okay, appreciate that, Ralph. You mentioned Duya Kletekar a minute ago there as well. I mean, you talk about him getting back up to a full rhythm and full fitness. How long can an experienced player like that, how long can it take to get to that full rhythm where he's playing his best football?
Who?
Duya Kletekar.
Yeah. I think when you step in a new league, you see the intensity that is there. It is something of impressive. So I think for a new player, not for everybody, it is impressive definitely when you see the intensity because it is different. Referees let the game run more duels are allowed. It is a different league. It is a wonderful league, I must say, and the football is so intense. When you watch the games on the weekend, it's like massive. And this is something you have. Some players need a little bit longer to adapt. Some players do it immediately. It's on us to help them to do it quick.
You probably hope that he didn't have to come into the team so quickly and so importantly, but given our situation, whether that's 2 weeks or a little bit longer, the signing of that centre back now feels like a really, really important one.
He was an important one, yeah. Also, I would hope to have him back as quick as possible, sure. The good thing is that the World Cup is coming up and nobody wants to miss it, and I think he has a big chance to go there, so he will do everything to maybe not get the surgery and take it with a little bit pain and the risk, what is definitely there. I know that this injury can always happen again when it's not fully fixed, so it's not that easy to say, come on, take some painkillers and go. So you have to be careful, especially when you are in a position like him, where you have duels the whole time and have to fight there. So it's not easy. You need your arms, you need everything to work with on this position, and yeah. But I'm positive. I think he's a guy who wants to fight for it and who wants to go for it.
Thank you, Ralph.
Thanks, Jordan. Hi, Ralph.
Hi.
On Douya as well. In terms of his age, he comes in at a different profile to a lot of the younger guys. Is it a little bit harder to get those guys who have maybe had more experience to kind of get up to this kind of ball-orientated defending and get him used to the Premier League and how you want to see him play in it?
Normally, yes, but with him, I think the difference was that he was, as you know, maybe growing up in Red Bull Salzburg, and this philosophy is coming from there. What we played in Leipzig and what we try here is very much based on what we have done there, or what is coming from this kind of football, if you want. So he knows the behaviors, he knows the habits, he knows how to do it. You have to be brave, and for braveness you need to get the feeling that you are able to do it, and I think this is what we have to give him, and then he has shown it in the sessions that he can help us, definitely, that he's a good character and a good guy up front, in the back, so I'm sure that he can help us.
You said on Sunday as well you wanted him to be a little bit louder as well. Is that one thing that you said to him, to make sure his voice is heard on the pitch and amongst that back line?
Yeah, it doesn't need to be vocally. It can also be in this way. His presence on the pitch is there, yeah, with organising, with his passes, with his calmness on the ball. This is something I think I have to expect from a player like him.
Just finally from me, you've said in the past about those young players and playing them in really intense games quite quickly. We saw it with Romeo at Manchester United and then Chelsea, and obviously it's a little bit different with Armel because it's maybe not so much a muscle injury or anything like that, it's a dislocated shoulder. How much do you have to think about that? How much do you have to strike that balance when you want to put out your best team and your best players, but you do have to be wary that those younger ones maybe can't play every 2 or 3 days in such intense periods?
Yeah, but you see that these injuries can happen everybody, so it's not about young or old. When you have a duel and you go down and you dislocate your shoulder, it can happen at Salah in the Champions League final, or it can happen somewhere else. So you're never aware of this. So this has nothing to do with old or young. And the rest, we have now only 2 days between the two games, what is maybe shorter. On Sunday we have 1 day longer, what is a little bit better for the players. But some get adapted to this quick. With Romeo, we had the problem that he was then injured and it was a bad injury after the first midweek game. So we know that we have to take care of the young lads, but in the last starting 11 haven't been that many, to be honest.